Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Toon Ladies Talk Show. I am so excited because today we are talking with the authors of The Shadow Prophet, which I am so thrilled about because it's dystopian, and you guys know, big fan of dystopia over here. I hope you guys are just as excited as me. If you are joining me live, now's the time to get into my chat box and start leaving your questions and comments for Anne and Marissa. We are going to be answering as many as possible while we are live on air today. But before we jump into our conversation, my friends, I have some breaking Toon World news for you, things that you do not want to miss. Shout out, we're so excited to see you. Rosie, thanks so much for being here. TM Sharky Nerd, thanks so much for being here. Today we're diving in on that Toon World news. A Good Day to Be a Dog and True Beauty are being made into Korean dramas, and one of them actually comes out later this year. If you're excited about this, go ahead and get in my comments and let me know just why you are so excited. We've also learned that Homesick is moving to originals, which is so much fun. If you've read this before, let us know why you love it and why I should check it out too, because I haven't read this one yet. Jump into my chat box and let me know. We've also learned that this week Webtoon has launched a brand new part of their platform where you have to play an ad before you read the most current episode of some Canvas episodes. So this is kind of a brand new move for them. It's going to help creators to get a little more money. And all you have to do is watch an ad before the most recent episode of those Canvas episodes. So make sure you are checking that out as well. We've also reported earlier this morning that the Alley Cat is now getting a spin-off mini-series. For more information on that, you can check out our YouTube page where we bring you behind the scenes of this breaking news. And last night, just a few hours ago, we had the privilege of checking out the trailer for the final season, one of my all-time favorite webtoons, My Dear Cold-Blooded King. If you have not checked it out yet, My Dear Cold-Blooded King is back. My Toon boyfriend is featured in this one, and I am so excited for you guys to be jumping into that last season with me. If you're a fan, shout out. We're going to chat when this episode is done. Super exciting. If you are someone who is great at knowing all the Toon World news, we want you to come volunteer with Toon Ladies. You can come hang out with me to be a reporter over at toonladies.com/join the team, where we have people creating content. We've got reporters, we've got marketers, we've got all sorts of amazing people helping to grow this platform and keep you guys informed on the latest things that are happening inside of those Toon World amazing places. And we would love for you to come and join us. We're super excited for this one. We see that you're all hanging out here in our comments. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate all of you being here. For those of you who have been following the Toon Ladies platform, you know that this week we hung out with May Rothschild of Brimstone and Roses over on the podcast. And coming up on the podcast, we are talking all about building believable high schools with Ingrid Ochoa of The Kiss Bet. So make sure you head over to all of these streaming platforms and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on this episode of the Toon Ladies Podcast, where we're talking to Ingrid about how she creates those believable high school settings within her story, The Kiss Bet, which is not too far off from its brand new season. All right, friends, we are about to dive into today's conversation. I am so excited because we are welcoming the authors of The Shadow Prophet. We're going to be talking with Marissa and with Anne today, and I could not be more excited for all of the fun as we are hanging out with these ladies today. Ladies, hello, how are you?
Hello.
We're
great.
I'm so excited to see all of you. We are going to introduce these fabulous ladies in just a second, but if you've got questions, now's the time to get those over in the chat box. Marissa, hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Marissa. I'm a comic artist, animator, and illustrator. Been doing it for like 2008 was my graduation time, so I'm in the business for a long time. And it's my first time actually doing webcomics professionally, so that's a bit scary, but also very challenging, and a very warm, welcoming community. So that's really nice. And I've done 4 books for a comic magazine in the Netherlands called Eppo. And the book series itself is called Ward, and it's a bit different. It's not manga-ish at all, and so I'm very happy to be back on my original turf, more in manga directions.
I'm really excited. We're actually going to be talking about your artwork in just a little bit, but before we get there, we also need to meet Anne. Anne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna from Germany. I am a writer and comic writer, and I've been working in the industry for about 10 years, maybe some more. And I actually have published manga for most of the time, but Shadow Prophet happens to be also my first project as a webtoon.
And I am so excited to have both of you here. We've actually been chatting behind the scenes, and this is the first time we've seen each other face to face. So I'm really excited for us to hang out today. I am loving on the Shadow Prophet because it is dystopian, and we know I'm a huge fan of all things dystopia. We're going to get there in just a second. But we are getting all the love from your fans in the comments. TM Sharky Nerd says, your art is beautiful. KM says, your art style is unique. And Rosie is given all the good vibes as we are hanging out today. So friends, if you've got questions, if you've got comments for Marissa and Anne, now is the time. We did have some people who sent in questions early. We're going to be answering those in just a few minutes, but we want to hear from you guys as well. And before we dive in, we need to learn a little bit more about the Shadow Prophet. So what do we need to know about your story?
I think the log line which I usually used was 1984 manga style. It's it's a story about Icho, a young girl who has gone through some trouble in her life, but is finally getting back on track and set to get that great exam score and live a happy life ever after with her wonderful, caring and loving boyfriend. And then things kind of go wrong from there on because she's living in a not so very happy society who's really geared to only condone like perfection and everybody doting on their beloved Godot and all the sayings and perfect things Godot wants for everybody. And everybody who does not quite fit in does not end up very well. And that's going to be a problem when she is meeting some difficulties.
And we start off this story kind of seeing that she has gone through some misfortunes in her life. She has lost her mother. She is going in to take this test, and things don't go quite as planned. And you did mention her boyfriend, which a lot of people have a lot of questions about. So today we are going to get into all of those fabulous things. We're excited that each and every one of you are joining us today. We're talking all about the Shadow Prophet. Now's the time to get those questions into my chat box. So let's dive in. Let's talk dystopia because I love dystopia with an absolute passion. So why did you choose to go this dystopian, that fallen utopian route for your story?
Well, the story originated in me working together with a different writer at the beginning, Willem Ritstier, and we were supposed to be doing our first book together. And I sent in a couple of ideas. One of those turned out to become The Shadow Prophet, and that was kind of inspired by me going through a pretty bad breakup and being on an internship in Belgium, in Brussels, where even though I'm from the Netherlands and it's pretty close by, it still felt like a world away from home. And I didn't speak French, and I kind of didn't realize that there was going to be so much French talk there. So I was kind of isolated. I was sitting a lot of time for the first time in a subway, and there were these like very dark tunnels, and there was something mysterious about it, like there could be anything in there. And at one point I saw like a machine somewhere in the distance, and I was like, oh, what did I just see there? So this kind of coalesced in the idea of someone going through a breakup, not fitting in her place in society, trying to work hard, but kind of failing. I've had some bad luck with my school as well at times. So those were kind of things that I used as an inspiration. And my writer Willem at that time, he kind of picked up on those themes, on the school situation, the boyfriend situation, and me struggling all my life with perfection and other kinds of issues. So he was putting that all in all together and making this big bad world that really centers around perfectionism and the bad things that makes it happen. And I talked with him just before the show also on what his original inspiration for this very dark society also has been. And he told me he was kind of envisioning a world that he could actually see happen if things were going to go really bad, uh, as they currently are at places. And this story has been in the making for quite some years. The original sketches and first script version were back in 2007. So at that time, when we were thinking about like controlling societies and drones and camera and Big Brother watching you, that was a bit further away from the truth than we are currently at. So it feels like reality is gaining up on us.
As a dystopian author, I very strongly feel that as well. I've also kind of wanted to dive into my dystopian writing and just put out all the dystopia books. I know some people are like, all the dystopia or none of the dystopia at this point, but I am loving On the Shadow Prophet. And I love that it was kind of this event that kind of launched into your story, and it took a while to create what we see today. So now, Anne, how did you come into this process?
So Marissa and I go back for quite some time now. We actually met around 2006, 7-ish as well.
Yeah.
And I actually started off translating some of her earlier comics for a German comic magazine, and we got in touch, and it was all about LGBTQ Q plus stuff back then. So me and some other artists, we went to the Netherlands. Some Dutch artists came over to Germany, and it was a really great community. And we just kept in touch on different projects and have been doing a lot of concept work. And yeah, we've been in touch. And then there was this, hey, Webtoon it's happening now. So you want to be part of it? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the original writer at that point, we've been going through so much together, and all those years we've known each other, and we've been working on the project, and at times I struggled with depression and other issues, and then we put the projects of the Shadow Prophet like on somewhere in the refrigerator, and then get a new project to kind of get back into the vibe of it. And so at that point, I created with Willem the Words, the comic series, the other comic book series that I've made. And after we finished that, then we were like, well, let's get back to the Shadow Prophet. And we've been doing a lot of co-writing on it. I've been bringing in a lot of ideas for it as well. And during that time, we've been trying to pitch it to foreign publishers. And that was difficult because it's a difficult project. It has a lot of conflicting things, story-wise, art-wise. It's kind of, yeah, well, it's not an easy project to sell to a publisher because it's so many things at one time. And at that point, a friend of mine, Coco Auerkerk, who goes by the name of Colorbee also, made her big breakthrough with Exception on Webtoon. And when we meet up, we were like, maybe this is something for you as well. Why not try it out? So we did. She helped me pitch directly to her editor, which was like an amazing thing, because I don't know if I ever get through on Webtoon either way. So it was really lucky that she really was so kind to help me. And we'd been doing that pitch trajectory for a long time, been editing, changing stuff to finally get through. But at that time, Willem was already so busy with other projects, and he was like, "Well, we've changed so much. I'm not sure if I recognize so much of it anymore from my original plan." So he was like, "Well, you've been working on it so much, and you've been writing on it so much, so maybe you should continue it by yourself." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll try." But I was like, "Well, but I do want somebody who can help me." And Anne was there because I also wanted to try and pitch a project for Webtoon with her, and they chose The Shadow Prophet. So I was like, well, if Willem can't be there to help me at that point anymore, then maybe Anne will want to jump in on the project. And she did, so I was very happy. Thank you.
And I am so excited that you did make it through all of these different levels to get to this point, because I'm a big fan of The Shadow Prophet. And I know that we've got all these really great questions coming into our chat box right now. We're going to answer those in just a second. But before we get there, we got a little something we like to do here at Toon Ladies, and we need your help. So friends, if you are here watching today, whether you're on our live broadcast or our replay, we need you to get your phones ready. We're about to take a picture. So what you're going to do is you're either going to snap a picture of us in just a minute on your phone, or if you're watching on your computer, you're going to pick up your phone and you're going to aim it at that computer and you're going to take a picture of yourself watching it. Bonus points if you get your face in it. And we want you to go over to Instagram stories, and we want you to start posting us and tagging us to let your friends know they need to come to the party and hang out. All right, so are you ready? We're going to smile for 3 seconds. You have 3 seconds to get a good shot of me not talking. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, friends, get over and post that on social media and let everybody know they need to come hang out with us here on youtube.com/toonladies for all of the fun today. We're going to dive into some of these questions, and we actually had some written in early, and we've got a lot of them over in the comments today. Now, I do see some that are going to be answered in Marissa and Anne's podcast episode. We're talking all about the process of them working together on this story. So we're going to touch on some of these, but you're going to get some really good answers on that in the podcast episode, which comes out a little bit later on. We're going to keep you posted on that one. So don't worry, we're going to get all your questions answered today. So let me go ahead and let me pull up some of these early sent in questions on screen so we can get those answered today. I might have to lean forward to read some of these. They're a little tiny when I put them all together. But a lot of people, both in our chat box right now and early on, wanted to know, what was your inspiration for this story? What inspired you to create it? And you actually touched on this a little bit between your breakup and between that tunnel. So what was the catalyst for this? What was that defining moment that said, this is a story I want to tell?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to come up with ideas at that point. I was given the opportunity to work together with Willem. Like, he's a renowned comic writer in the Netherlands, and also is an artist as well. So I was just trying to think of cool ideas, and this one really stuck to me because it was like, well, my entire life has been about struggling with perfectionism. So I was like, well, this is really a story that has so many personal themes of me woven into it. So I think maybe that was what he was picking up on as well when he chose that specific story out of like maybe 5 or 6 different ideas which I had at the time. And yeah, the breakup part was really really had an impact on me as well.
They always do, right? It's fun to write those things in the books, stories and all those fun things.
So,
we have lots and lots of questions coming in. So let's continue to take a look. Oh boy, that is very, very small. Let me... Nope, can't read that one. I did not anticipate that being so small. Hang on, friends, because I do have copies of these over here somewhere. That is right here. I think it skipped on me, actually. So that did skip on me, didn't it? That's okay. People want to know about the paper cranes inside of the story. Do they carry symbolism in the society? that you've written as well as what they represent in ours. I was watching you ladies pull out the paper crane when I'm reading this. And who taught her to make them, and why has she made so many? So talk to me, Marissa, a little bit about the paper cranes.
Well, of course, it's a very important plot element, so I can't be telling too much about it yet. But I think I can tell that it's something she does to focus, like a bit of a meditative thing. It also carries much of the same symbolism we already know here for paper cranes and folding them and trying to get a wish granted or wishing for health and prosperity and luck. So she's been focused on that for quite a lot of years of her life. And that's why she has so many. She really has a lot. She's made, yeah, you'll see that in a later episode. I can't be telling.
I love that you incorporate it into the artwork so much. Like everything has those cranes in it. They're just so pretty. And of course, we've got that throwback to the actual animal crane that you had early on within the story. I'm kind of excited to see a little bit more about that. We do have these teeny tiny questions. Apparently it does not love me today, so let me just read them off of my end. People do want to know a lot more about Godot. So they want to know if it's a singular person like Vero is, or is this a title that's maybe given to a selected individual or maybe a group of people? Is he actually watching everyone? And what do we need to know about this leader?
Well, I think that'll be spoiler territory.
Might have to stick around until the very end.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell much about that. People are very
we love the speculation.
Yeah, I'm not
to a point where
we can tell
are we gonna
anything about
change this? So who knows? We could tell you something now, but then decide, let's go for another round.
Oh, misleading. I like it. It. Uzi would like to know, were there any TV series or books that were a part of the inspiration behind this story? So was there anything in the arts that kind of got you going with this story?
For the story itself, Willem has written a lot of the parts of the world building parts of the society and the start of the story. I think that 1984 does implement that we have a lot of similar background ideas. I actually listened to the audiobook about it a couple of years ago, so that was really fun and see where we were going in a different direction or not. So that's something, if you like the story, then you should definitely also read or listen to an audiobook version of that story, because it has a bit of the same vibe. And art-wise, art which has always got a big influence on me is ElfQuest. ElfQuest is one of my biggest inspirations, like since forever. And I think the manhwa Priest, which has a very awesome angular art style as well. So that was a big inspiration. Work by Sergio Toppi, which is like super decorated, awesome work. And I'm thinking if there's any more specific. Well, the style got.
We've both been to Japan as well, so if you see a lot of Japanese style in there, we've walked the path.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back there.
Now, did you do that in preparation for creating the story, or was this something that you did beforehand so that you just had that knowledge before you jumped in?
For me, I've been in Japan for only one time, and that was back in 2015. So the story was already well on its way. But I've always loved anime and manga, and I've watched so many of that, and also all kinds of J-drama, K-drama. I'm a big fan of those. So I'm...
Everybody seems to really love those. I haven't tried them yet, so I might have to get some recommendations for you later.
You should. So good. It's so good. Especially the history, like the history themed ones. Anything that happens in the Edo or Joseon time, that got me excited.
You're gonna have to DM me a list of these later. I'll have to try to find quarantine time to go through these and just binge watch them. I'll be DMing you like, I can't believe that just happened.
They're so good at cliffhangers. I really need to watch like the first 15 minutes of the next episode so I can get that cliffhanger out of the way and just like relax, because I can't stop anyway.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. I love it. I feel like, and I'm just going to throw this one out there, I feel like Webtoon authors are pretty dang good with those cliffhangers at the end of their episodes, ladies. All I'm saying.
Well, that's our job.
Yes. And I know that you, speaking of media, speaking of those entertainment things that did influence your work, I know you created a playlist. And we've got Rosie in the comments, friends. She is actually going to be dropping a link to that playlist that you created to kind of go along with the Shadow Prophet. So if you guys are interested in turning on some music while you're reading, we got you covered. Check out that chat box. Rosie's going to drop that for us right now. And KM is in our comments and would like to know, what are some of your previous works? So I know both of you have had projects independent of this. Marissa, tell us a little bit about what else you've worked on.
So I already mentioned like the comic book series Word, which is like a Franco-Belgian style European adventure series. It's very, very classic. I did in the past, I had a doujinshi circle where I did with a couple of my friends, we did all kinds of boys love and girls love stories, from very naughty to very, very fluffy and cute. So that was also very, very awesome. One of those projects was Coins, very, at times, 18 plus gay superhero series, which I really loved. And it's still up on Smack Jeeves. So if anybody really likes to see some very specific stuff from me, then you should definitely look at that.
Just looking if I can find a page that's free for all.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this one.
Oh, you have it there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Devin is like a delicious evil villain with a soft side.
Oh, fun times. Anne, how about you? What other projects have you worked on?
Yeah, so I've done mainly manga work for a German major publisher, which is Carlsen. They're also publishing like Naruto and One Piece over in Germany. So this is the first book. This was a trilogy, and with another artist, I did a 2-part vampire romance series afterwards. And a lot of independent projects as well. So
yeah, fantastic. Very interesting. We do have a question from Kayla, who, shout out the Wolfman of Wolvershire, who was on our podcast not too long ago and may or may not be hanging out with you again soon. I'm just saying, you guys should hit the subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss out on something coming. Something's coming. And Kayla would like to know, how do you enjoy working with the long scroll format of Webtoon versus that traditional layout of most comics?
I love it. It's amazing. Yeah, it's so cool. We can do really nice stuff with it. I wish I could use it more even, especially when in episode 3 for the Shadow Prophet, where Ichigo has the panic attack. It's really, really nice to be able to like flow into all the next images and really get sucked into her experience. So I love that you have like an infinite canvas and can create these wonderful transitions between panels, and it's that alone already is really cool. And there's so many other things like spacing is different, where you're really working towards cliffhangers. and kind of like teasing information, but maybe not all the information. So whatever you're reading might be very different in the next episode when you get new information on it, and that's really different from when you're just reading a graphic novel or a comic book, where you really continue on in the same vibe and speed of reading. So that's quite different and really fun to play around with.
We do have people hanging out in the comments, leaving all sorts of fun, fabulous things. Rosie is saying, seriously, is there a cliffhanger cult that everyone is in? The answer to that is yes, dear. There is. TM Sharky Nerd is also chatting about those killer cliffhangers. It's a real thing.
You need them.
You do.
They're plot devices.
Yeah, it's what gets people to keep on reading. Absolutely love it. Scrolling back up, we've got all sorts of fun questions coming in. Colorbee does want to know, how is it to work together on a story? Have you ever had an argument that changes the story or some other type of hiccup? We are going to be chatting a little bit more about this in depth over on the podcast, but kind of give her a little peek at this one.
Well, I think in general, if as an artist you decide to work together with a writer, you just have to have good communication. Just talk about things, get to know each other, what's important to you about the story. So in this project, for me, it's clear that this is Marissa's story. So everything I do, I just ask her, is this okay? Should I make some suggestions? And in the end, I give her my suggestion, and then she looks what she can keep. Yeah.
Marissa, anything to add on that one?
I think when I look at working together with our editor as well, it's the same thing. Like, she suggests really good options or to change a little bit, or spacing, anything, and most of the time they're like, well, those are really good, so yeah, let's do them. And at some points I'll be like, I'm really married to this little bit of things, so I kind of want to keep this. And then usually that's not a problem. So it's all about communication and trying to get clear for yourself what's important for what you want to tell with the story. And sometimes when you're married to an idea, it's very good to take a step back and try and see if it's actually all that necessary. Does it really add to the story as much as you kind of want it to? So getting an outside perspective on that really helps. Taking more leeway with your own like rigid thoughts or long-held firm beliefs about how something should look.
Well said. If you are joining us live, we need you to do us a little favor. We want you to hit that share button and the subscribe and notification bell, because that allows us to do really cool things here on the Toon Ladies platform over on YouTube. And if you are not doing that, we can't do all the cool things and get all the amazing authors like Marissa and Anne to come join us for the talk show. So we need you to hit that share button, and we need you to hit the subscribe and notification bell right now so that you do not miss out on all the cool stuff coming up here on Toon Ladies. We are going to get into some more questions. We've got all the fun things planned for today's episode, but now is the time to let us know that you're enjoying this. We'll hit the like button, leave us some comments outside of the chat box, let everybody know that you're having all the fun, and hit all those fun, fabulous buttons for us to help us get our ranking up on YouTube so we can do even more fabulous things. And TM Sharky Nerd is in our comments and says, what actually got you interested in creating comics? So Marissa, what was that thing that got you into creating comics in the first place?
The first ever thought I had about creating comics was because I'm a very big Sonic fan, and I was like 12 years old, and I didn't really like going on holidays because I couldn't take my game console with me, and I didn't want to be parted from Sonic. So I had a dream at that point while we were on holiday somewhere in a small house. And I don't remember what the dream was about, but I woke up that morning and it was like, I'm going to draw Sonic. I'm going to draw the story from the video game so I can take it with me. So then I do not have to be parted from Sonic.
That's so funny.
That got me into making comics.
I love it. I love it. So, Anne, how did you get into working with comics like this?
Yeah, I've always been reading comics. Like I'm one of those kids where my parents would give me comics, really. And my grandfather, and whenever we were on holiday, we would get comics just so that we'd be busy for a couple of hours, my brother and me. So I started writing novels. I've also like published a few novels, but I was always so interested in the transition, like when words create pictures in somebody's head. And I wanted to see those, and just having an artist just draw illustration for your book. So I've had a lot of illustrations in my books, from very lovely artists. That wasn't enough. I wanted the whole thing. And I've also always been like interested in storyboarding for movies and stuff. And I was like, comic is somewhere in between. It has its very own rules. It's not just novel and movie combined and stuff. So it has some of its own rules. But it was just my medium. Like this was my medium to tell stories, even if I'm not an artist and I really can't draw. It's enough for storyboard, but you don't want to see more. Trust me.
I do. I want to see
I
what this
remember
looks
the
like.
mushrooms.
Yeah, I can draw mushrooms. Okay.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there. I feel like we should have some of your mushrooms at the end of an episode, just as a little afterthought coming up soon. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Totally prepared. I love it. I love it. We are getting love for your vampire romance in the comments. We've got people saying that this is so awesome. They are loving your story about how you got into creating these comics and these worlds. And I want to take a little bit of a turn on this one. I want to talk a little bit about some of the research that goes into your story, because I know that you do a lot with technology. I know you've got this futuristic society. So how much research are you actually doing when creating your world building inside of the Shadow Prophet?
A lot of image research mostly. Currently we're gonna have a scene at a shrine. So we'll have lots of images for shrines and looking up stuff for how to make that a bit believable. And same goes for all the technological stuff, especially the drones. We've had lots of research images for that as well. And for the rest, it's mostly also a bit like, it's a vehicle for the story, but our story is most important in the art as well. So whatever we think works. So we're not going to be like researching ourselves to death, and there's just not enough time for that as well when you're doing a weekly series. So we work with what we can do and what we can get, and our characters are the most important things. So we need to have those right. That's the most important ones.
Makes a lot of sense. And are you in on this research process as well?
Yes, of course. So we would like go like, I need wheelchairs. I'm like, okay, let me look. so we actually forwarded each other a number of videos and research papers on how to develop wheelchairs where you can stand up. And then we were like, okay, now our story is set slightly in the future, so it could have improved. And what is just too difficult to draw? So
that's also a very important thing.
Yeah. That does really come into play. I know for me, as I'm writing my dystopian novels, I can do all sorts of things with words, but you have to deal with art. And that's a very different concept than doing things with words. So for me as an author, I wouldn't even think twice about that. But for you as an artist, you absolutely have to take that into consideration, especially since you're putting out an episode a week. So when it comes down to creating these episodes, what does that look like for you? How long does it take you to go through the process of creating a single episode?
Well, it's a bit difficult to pinpoint because I think like half of what we've already had in regards to episodes was content that already had mostly been drawn for the graphic novel version of the story. But that was a black and white grayscale, and the story was quite a bit different as well. because we've changed a lot for Webtoon. Also in regards to pacing, a lot of the beginning chapters this was like the promotional booklet which I made to show all kinds of publishers to gauge interest. And a lot of those chapters in the beginning are world building, but that just takes so much time that we chose to spread those out more throughout the entire story. So a lot of content already was created, but a lot of new content was going to be created or edited. And we had to get colors as well in there. So it just takes me an entire week to just do my little bit of the sketches and thinking about the story, drawing the inks, and doing a lot of editing as well for things I get back from the colorist or the flatter. I just don't have enough time in the week. And especially now with Corona and the daycares are being closed, it's really difficult. So we'll probably be heading into a hiatus anytime soon, because if this continues the way it is, I just don't have enough time anymore. So we'll probably be off for a couple of weeks at some point before the season ends. But then we'll go on to preparing the second season,
which is so exciting. Do you know how many episodes are planned for the first season? Like, relatively, how long are we going to get before we have to wait for season 2, do you think?
Relatively, we originally had it planned at 26. I think we'll be more into 30-ish at this time.
Okay.
But it can always fluctuate a bit depending on how
we've got a few weeks. We got a couple weeks that we can keep on reading before we have to wait for season 2. Jay,
so maybe we can get you through the lockdown with our dystopian story.
Yes,
let's hope so.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I like it. Jada wrote in this week, and she has a question about your art. So she would like to know, do you draw traditionally on paper with pencil and then colored in digitally? Or is that something you're doing specifically within that digital workspace?
It's all digital. Everything from begin to end.
And I feel like for me, as a designer, not an artist, who has an awareness of, I guess not an awareness, I'm very good at using Photoshop. I know that there are some really cool brushes inside of programs that you are using to draw, and you can get that traditional pencil and paper look with brushes in whatever program you happen to be using. So I feel like a lot of that comes into this question as well. And I have to ask, because this has been one of the most popular questions on this show for the entire lifetime of Toon Ladies. Everybody wants to know, what program do you use to draw?
Photoshop.
Yes, you're the first one. Everybody else is in Clip Studio Pro. You're the first one who uses Photoshop. This is why we're friends.
But now, yeah, I've always drawn in Photoshop for so many times, ever since I went into not high school. How do you call it? Like my art college, where I did animation, and well, we all just worked on Photoshop there and TV Paint for the animation. So I kind of never left. I think I got some assets from Clip Studio Paint, but the actual drawing and everything just happens in Photoshop. It's rarely that I use any other program. And I just have like a Wacom Intuos. I usually tape like a paper over it. Yep, something like that. Very simple.
This is actually really interesting, because I've seen you doing this, that Marissa really puts a piece of paper onto the Intuos to get the feeling of the paper.
Really?
Yeah, because when you're drawing with a Wacom or whatever tablet, it's always like a plastic nib on a plastic surface, and it just doesn't work for me as well. And I really like the vibe, the like feeling the old school ink pen on paper, which I used to do before I went to art school. So My tablet looks really ugly with all kinds of like
The marks on it.
different pieces of paper which have been on there for forever.
That's so funny. I've never put paper between my pen and my tablet. I feel like I want to try it to see
You
how
should try. You should try.
never even considered that. Like, I figured that would hinder it, but that's very interesting.
The hindrance works really well in creating that true feeling of drawing with pencil or with an ink pen.
Really?
And you can also like try like thick paper, like watercolor paper, anything with a structure on it, just to experiment on it. So, and there's also
Well,
like
what I'm doing tomorrow.
well, you should. And like the Wacom pen I have has different kind of nibs, which have also kind of like different vibes a bit. So that also helps. But for me, the best thing is just like slap on a piece of paper, just tape it on there, and it works.
That's so interesting. We're gonna try that tomorrow, guys. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Stay tuned. You could probably check out Instagram stories tomorrow. I'll report back. I'll let you know how it goes for me. Rosie says there's hope for us Photoshoppers. Yeah, there's hope for us Photoshoppers in the Webtoon world. I'm still over here in the photography world and design world using it, and I couldn't live without it. We are getting lots of love for Photoshop artists. Yes, I am glad that you are here with us today. Yes, I am. TM Sharky Nerd says, that is so interesting. I have to agree with you. The old school feeling of paper. Well, Boo Boo, I know you are making the transition into digital art. Maybe give paper over your screen a try. I'm just saying. Could be interesting. Rosie says, OMG, Team Photoshop. Yes. KM has a question. KM would like to know, it just jumped on me. There we go. Can you show us any of the early concept art from the Shadow Prophet? Now, I'm assuming you don't have it right next to you, but is that something you would maybe put out on social media for people to see?
Yeah, sure. I hope I have some time for it. Yeah, I'm not sure if you maybe can put it up because I did send you maybe, I think.
I do have some of your stuff. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. I think there should be a style progression thing from like the earliest ever sketch of Icho to like late 2018 or maybe.
I do have that. I have that somewhere. Let me find my files. I've got all my files up right now, and I actually have to go through and look at them. Guys, if you were joining us live, now is the time to drop those questions. We are getting toward the end of our time today. But if you have questions, now's the time. And if you are on a replay, we want to get your questions answered as well. So make sure you're dropping those questions down in our comments down below, and we will do our best to get those answered, maybe through Instagram stories or through an Instagram post. Later on this week, we will be monitoring those. And if you are joining us live right now, you are chatting in the chat box. I need you to leave a comment down in the comments below the video. That helps our ranking. Is this it? Did I find it? I think I found it. Yes, I did. It's a two-parter. Okay. Here we go. Let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to load this so that I can share this with all of you. Let me try. There we go. Beautiful. Number 1. Here we go. Show that in stream. Let me go ahead and make that big so that we can check that out. So talk me through this. What are we looking at? 2007.
Yeah, that was like the first sketch I ever did of her. She has like a skin disorder at that point. But that idea kind of got shelved through the years. And she always had that ponytail in different ways. And through the years, the style got more and more influenced by drawing more realistically other stories like Ward. And then we got back to a more manga-esque at the end again. So
we've got from 2007 to 2010 here. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to swap this out for the updated version. So we are looking at 2011 to 2016. Tell me what we've got going on here.
Well, it's the same progression, I think. Actually, the like in 2014, I was really getting towards the more artistic vibe of it, which you can also see in 2015 and 2016. In 2016, really, I got like, this is the style. This is finally the thing that I want to be doing. And the coloring is more exotic than the Webtoon version. But I never got around to doing much of the sample colors. So I did a couple of pages in those type of sample colors, which I really, really liked. But I loved the black and white version better. And there's a lot of old content still online on my Facebook page of The Shadow Prophet. So if you want to check stuff like that out, I don't think there's any spoiler stuff in it anymore. Maybe a couple of panels, but we've almost caught up to everything. So definitely go check out the Shadow Prophet Facebook page. And you'll see some old stuff and old graphic novel pages there as well, and in like the old black and white glorious shapes. But so much has changed. I'm not sure if we ever can get back to that old version, because characters have changed, the elements of the story have changed, probably the ending as well. So we'll see.
I'm here, so.
Yes, DM Sharky Nerd is in our comments and says, who is your favorite character to create both digitally and personality-wise? So Marissa, when you're drawing, who is your favorite character to create?
I love drawing Icho because of her hair. I just really love her hair. I really love doing her hair, and I'm really in love with the way her nose, and like the extreme angular nose. That's just something I really, really love. And Ryuichi is the best one to draw, because he's like, those faces he can pull, especially those very strict, dark faces. Those are really good to draw. Like, drawing him angry and annoyed is the best thing ever.
I have to ask, based on Anne's reaction, is she the one that sits there and models those different facial features for you so that you can get those expressions just right?
No, but I think like watching us when we're drawing or writing scenes would be film worthy, just because when you're drawing or writing, you're always enacting what to do. And I have to agree, like refining and writing Ryuichi's dialogues or Liang, it's just amazing.
Liang is so good.
I have a really big spot in my heart for Liang's dad, for Seigo, because he's just like the
so good,
cutest old man ever for me. So
I love it.
I don't think we actually have his name already in the comic. He's named Saigo.
Learning things, friends. We're learning things. I love it. I love it. But we are coming to the end of our chat today. But fear not, because both of these fabulous ladies will be joining us for a podcast episode coming out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to tell you all about it later on. So make sure you are hanging out on social media with us, because we're going to be dropping all the information you need to know about this upcoming podcast episode there first. You can hit us up at Toon Ladies on all the social media platforms to make sure you don't miss out on this incredible story and what we're doing inside of the podcast, as we chat all about how Marissa and Anne work together to create what we see over on Webtoon as the Shadow Prophet. All right, before we let you ladies go, we do need a little bit of information from you. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate chatting with both of you. Marissa, where can everybody find you on social media to connect?
I think the best place would be Instagram. My name, Marissa Delbressine. Or if you want to see a lot of old stuff and new announcements on the Shadow Prophet, go over to Facebook and go look up the Shadow Prophet's page there. And if anybody wants to hit me up with DMs or anything, you can always try. I may not always have time to respond to everything or as quickly as I'd like, but if there's anybody who's want to ask questions about breaking into comics, or how it is to work as a Webtoon artist, or whatever on my art journey, or if I can give some advice, just hit me up. I've been very lucky to have had so much help from people all around me and work together with so many wonderful people and people who help me with the colors and the flatting. Hi, Dan. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Sanna. Hi, Peter. Thank you for everything. So thank you for all your hard work and helping me. So if I can, I'd like to help others as well.
Beautiful. And Anne, where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, best is Instagram as well. It's Ali Kubi. So I've drawn the mushroom and I've written how to write Ali Kubi, which is Latin.
Perfect.
So it's mushroom.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I'm so glad that you drew that for us.
Of course, always.
I love it. All right, friends, we are going to be launching into our podcast when today's episode is done. But before I let you go, you need to know what's coming next week because it's huge. Ladies, thanks so much for joining me. I will join you for the podcast in just a couple of minutes. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, friends, in the next week, we are going to have one of my favorite people ever on this show. I am so excited. Show of hands. Do you like Disney movies? How about The Little Mermaid? How about Beauty and the Beast? How about The Rescuers Down Under? Do you like Star Trek? Do you like Secret of NIMH? Do you like Mary Poppins? Because this man has had his hand in these amazing movies. We are hanging out with Disney animator Philo Barnhart, who I've interviewed a number of times on my other platforms, but he's coming to talk art. He's coming to talk Disney movies. He is coming to answer your questions next week on Toon Ladies. If you haven't hit the subscribe and notification bell, get there now. You are going to regret missing out on this one if you are not here live to interact with this incredible Disney icon who created Ariel and Ursula. He created Sebastian and Gaston and Lumiere. He basically created everything in Secret of NIMH. He has actually been credited with saving part of The Little Mermaid, and we're going to talk all about it next week. And we have a little surprise up our sleeves. I'm so excited about this one. So you got to join us for this. But that's not all I have for you because boy, do I have some friends coming on the show in the next month. We're going to be hanging out with Disney animator Philo Barnhart. We're hanging out with Miranda Munt of Muted. We've got May Rothschild of Brimstone and Roses, Jenna A of Enjoy the Show, Mushmallow of Defects, and then this is the first time we're announcing this here on YouTube. We have the producer of The Swan Princess, which is the most amazing magical movie that wasn't made by Disney. I don't know how it wasn't made by Disney, but it defined my childhood and most of yours as well. Selden Young is going to be joining us. Yes, that is a suit that is pink that has the characters on it, and yes, he owns a matching car. It's amazing. He's going to be joining us at the end of May. So we've got an action-packed couple of weeks here at the Toon Ladies Talk Show. Plus, we've got some amazing people hanging out on the podcast as well. You do not want to miss what's coming up. Speaking of things that are coming up, we're actually going to be doing a live cosplay creation this week on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We will be joined by Ms. Phelan, who is an incredible cosplayer. She's building an Alley Cat cosplay on air. She's creating it with us on air to show you how to do it. So make sure, of course, you hit that subscribe and notification bell, and you can actually set notifications to remind you for all of these episodes because they are here on YouTube right now. Loving on the Swan Princess? Yes. Yes, thank you. I am so excited for this episode. It is going to be so much fun. We're getting lots of OMGs in the comments, but I'm not even done yet. We have a brand new series that we have been doing here on the Toon Ladies platform. This week, we hung out with both May Rothschild of Brimstone and Roses and Mushmallow of Defects, where they drew pictures live on air for you. And you got to watch them work, ask them questions. It was amazing and so much fun. If you guys did not see those episodes, make sure you go back and do that. And speaking of really cool things that are actually happening on the talk show, we've got some big things coming up for you in terms of our newsletter. So I am so excited for this one because we are actually doing a weekly newsletter. And in our weekly newsletter, we are doing exclusive interviews with authors. We are doing exclusive interviews with your favorite characters. We are doing swag. We're giving away swag every single week, including some really amazing cell phone wallpapers that you do not want to miss. Apparently my overlay did not make it into my queue here. So we've got this coming week, we've got May Rothschild, who actually joined us for that live drawing. She created her talk show, I'm still looking for that graphic. We're done. She created her wallpaper on air with us this week. It's amazing. It's glowy. It's dark. It's gorgeous. And we're going to do an exclusive interview with her. So you can go to newsletter.toonladies.com to get yourself subscribed. We've already given away amazing wallpapers from Jenna A. of Enjoy the Show and Mushmallow of Defects. They're glowy. They're gorgeous. They're swoony. They're shippy. And you do not want to miss what I have coming up on this newsletter. Every single Saturday, we're dropping brand new Breaking Toon World News, exclusive interviews, exclusive swag you can't get anywhere else for free, and more inside of that newsletter, newsletter.toonladies.com for more so that you do not miss out on all of the fun. And of course, we want you to come hang out for our Discord. If you guys are fans of hanging out on Discord, we would love for you to come join us. Discord.toonladies.com, where we're having all the conversations about the tunes that you just read. Plus, we're surprise loving on authors, and we've got some special projects, including our group cosplays. Yes, you heard me right. No matter where you live, you don't have to be with us. You can take the picture yourself, send it to me. I'm photoshopping us into one great big group, and we got some big things in store for you. So come on over to Discord.toonladies.com, and if you're an author who has an established Webtoon comic, I'm helping you guys out. Author Discord.toonladies.com for marketing help. Come join me. And also fun projects and opportunities for you. Would love to see you over there. And you can come join right now for all of the fun. And then, of course, you can join us every single Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Instagram at Toon Ladies for our AMA Ask Me Anything hangout sessions, where for an hour I'm going live and letting you come on air with me. If you're a fan, we can talk about your favorite tunes, about my books, about life, about whatever. And if you are a webcomic author, you can join me on air and talk about your comic to a brand new audience. I would love for you to join us over on YouTube, on Instagram at Toon Ladies every single Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, friends, we've got big, big, big things in store for you, and I cannot wait to show you what's coming over the next couple of weeks. Until then, we want to hear from you on social media, so come join us at Toon Ladies. Until next week, when we talk with Disney animator Philo Barnhart, I hope you have a fantastic day and stay inspired. Bye-bye, friends.